Stai per guardare una clip del formatore vendite e marketing numero 1 al mondo secondo Forbes. Noi di Domination Mod siamo i partner ufficiali italiani di Cardone International e siamo 10x coach certificati.
Money in many situations can actually increase the sensitivity to the lack of self.
How so?
Because, you know, you would think, first of all, I was so busy working. By the time I was 33, I think 31 or 32, somewhere in there. One day I looked up, I'm like, oh wow, I got $1 million. Nobody makes $1 million, right? You accumulate.
Yeah, if you're shooting for $1 million, you won't get there, right?
You accumulate. One day you're like, oh, I got $1 million in a bank account. That's what makes a millionaire. Everybody's gonna make $1 million. You make 50 grand a year for 20 years, you made $1 million. You know, but accumulating $1 million. Now I got $1 million, I'm like, damn, this is nothing. Which is like terrifying.
There's a line in Wall Street where Bud Fox says, I never knew how poor I was until I started making a little bit of money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember one year I made 650 grand. The guy looked at me, I was telling somebody, I said, I made 600 grand this year. And he's like, how do you live on that? I said, excuse me? He said, how do you live on that? How do you make sense of your potential at that? And are you bragging or complaining? He's like, I'm confused. And I'm like, fucking thank you so much. See you later. I got to get back to work. Because it was a wake up call, man. I'm like, oh wow, what's available out there?
Is that a real estate guy?
That guy was actually not. He was a New York Wall Street banker guy.
You said you might have gone into Wall Street if you had to do it all over again.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely do like a hedge fund or, you know.
Because it scales and there's tons of opportunity and there's things happening there.
Yeah.
Okay. But you went 5 years into sales and perfecting these techniques, and you got into real estate because you wanted a place to put your cash and put your instruments, right?
Yeah. So the first business was me going out talking to companies. I was cold calling them, businesses around America in the major cities, saying, hey, I have another way to sell things. I want to show it to you. I just want to try it out with your staff and see what happens. And that.
Are you good on the phone now? Are you getting pretty good?
I'm doing on the phone.
And you're pretty good.
I'm saying I'm gonna be in town. I'm coming to town.
Okay.
And they don't know who I am. I have no name. I hadn't written any books. I have no creds. Nothing.
Okay.
Hey, my name's Grant. I'm coming to town. I'd like to meet you. I'd like to show you something. I'm not interested. Click. I'd still go see the guy. So I started building. That's when I really became a salesperson. I'm 31 to 33 years old, and I'm banging the phone 3 days, and then I show up in a city.
Okay, that's what makes a salesperson, because it's cold calling and then showing up.
It's a cold call followed up by a visit. Hey, I called you the other day. You told me not to come by. Appreciate what you said. I just want to introduce myself, and the reason I'm in town. And then I'd go into my pitch, and I'm like, I'm going to have an event here 2 weeks from now. I'm not interested. I know you're not interested. How could you be? You don't have enough information to be interested. Like, that's where I learned to sell.
Okay.
It wasn't the 5 years before that.
Okay.
Like now I'm learning how to produce a lead, how to create interest, you know, how to keep interest, how to persist in a cycle, how to hit a deadline, because every one of these events was 2 weeks later.
Right.
So
you need a deadline.
Absolutely. I need a tight deadline.
Right.
You know, we were talking about the webinars earlier before the interview, and so I learned how to do everything in very tight timelines, where most people we just did an event, 2,200 people showed up. We marketed the entire event for 77 days. From idea to close of event was 77 days. Nobody does that. Most people take a year to do that event.
Okay.
So we did a 9,000 person event in under 9 months. Nobody hits these kind of targets. So what I was learning, what I didn't know back at 30 years old, was I was learning about the value of time, man, and pressure. And that had become literally like what has made my little thing here, or things, whether it's real estate or I'm off track from your question.
Right, this is good. But the value of time, meaning
compression of time.
You can get much more in there than you think.
Oh my God. Like I get more done in a day than anybody I know.
All right. And by doing that, you're even much more effective.
Well, yeah. I mean,
your sales is more effective, and you're just compressing everything.
Yeah, time is money, right? If time is money, and I'm compressing things, So a guy told me, he's like, I said, who do you think works harder, me or you? He's like, oh, he does. He's convinced he works harder than any person in the world.
It's Gary V.
Yeah. Me. I said, yeah, but who gets more done, dude? Who monetizes more faster? These are the bigger questions, not who works harder. It's who puts the branches and the pecans and the leaves in the bag without making the biggest mess. Like that is what a business is. It's not about making a mess or doing a bunch of work or looking all raggedy ass at the end of the day. It's how much can you get done with time.
Ora che hai visto il contenuto dello zio Grant Cardone, segui i nostri canali social e metti like e condividi questo video. Se questo video del maestro Grant ti è piaciuto, al di sotto trovi le risorse di approfondimento per vivere la tua vita 10x. Ci vediamo al prossimo video. Vai e domina!